Give me an example on the African continent of a state that is doing exactly that successfully.
There are no states in Africa that are practicing socialism. They all came in the name of the revolution, but they've never said they are socialist governments. I wouldn't say there's this government in Zimbabwe or in Malawi or in Nigeria or in Egypt that I would say they've ever said they have declared their state a socialist state.
Let me respectfully disagree with you. Kwame Nkrumah's Ghana, Tanzania under Julius Malema, people like Mengistu Haile Mariam, who led the socialist military junta that led Ethiopia in the 1970s and 80s, also tried it with policies similar to what you are telling me about. So it has been tried in Africa.
No, your question, you see, you're answering a wrong question after you asked the question. You said, which state is practicing that? So you were talking about the present continuous situation, not who practiced it.
I asked for an example of an African state that has done it successfully.
No. That is doing it successfully. At the current moment, it's not such a state. It has been tried in Ghana, Julius Nyerere, it has been tried in Zambia, and many other parts of the world. It is not the socialist policies that have failed. You must know that once you come with a socialist policy as an isolated state, the world, the West, and America will come and attack and make sure that that policy doesn't succeed so that it is not practiced in other countries. So its attack on other countries and making it impossible for it to succeed does not demonstrate that it has entirely failed.
South Africa owns Eskom.
Yes.
And isn't that an example of what you're talking about?
Yes.
Are you blaming, foreign interests for the failures of Eskom?
Well, Eskom hasn't failed. The individuals who failed. That we didn't have to change Eskom. We just had to remove an incompetent white person, director, and bring in an African competent person, and Eskom has turned around. So that's a clear demonstration that a state can deliver and deliver efficiently. Eskom has got its own challenges, but we have electricity now, and that's its primary objective.
You know what I'm trying to understand, Mr. Malema? Socialism failed the way it was born in the Soviet Union. I'm trying to understand why you are so convinced that it will succeed in South Africa.
But capitalism has not succeeded anywhere.
Well, I didn't say anything about capitalism. Let's talk about socialism.
Must not be told that socialism has failed and therefore there was an alternative economic system that succeeded. No one can show me the success of capitalism in Africa.
I didn't say anything about capitalism though. Yeah?
But if you go to Cuba, you'll find a very successful socialist state which is able to provide the most basic necessities to our people, despite the fact that it has been under an economic embargo for the past 60 years. Imagine Cuba if it was not under the American economic embargo. It was going to be one of the most successful states that is practicing socialism. Even with the embargo, they are the best in healthcare, in education, in all manner of things, including life expectancy. So the quality of life that is produced by a socialist state in Cuba is not what people want to talk about. And imagine they do that under the embargo. Let's go to China. The Chinese government controls every strategic sector of the economy, and their GDP has been growing, they've reduced the unemployment, their economy is growing, and there is no any other state in the world that is growing at the pace that China is growing. Yet it's a socialist state.
Yeah, I find the Chinese example interesting because the two societies, now when we look at South Africa and China, the two societies are not the same. You have South Africa that subscribes to liberal democracy. Our constitution doesn't allow our presidents to take up more than 2 terms, as you would know.
Yes.
Now, on the other hand, President Xi Jinping is there for life. So I'm just saying that I'm not sure why you are using China as an example. We're not the same, are we?
But you can't say because of limitations and non-limitations of the terms of office, therefore, we're not the same. The Americans, they spend 4 years in office, and our neoliberal democracy spends 5 years. And you will want to compare that as the same democracy, even though the number of years are different. We might be practicing the same policies like the South African government practices a capitalist policy, and Americans are practicing the capitalist policy. Their term of office is 4 years, and South African term of office is 5 years. It doesn't speak to the policy, it speaks to the terms of office. You can serve for whatever years you want, as long as the lives of our people are being improved. Why should we be obsessed with how many terms we have to subscribe to? It's not our own democracy. We don't allow people to come and impose on us. In a democracy, the earlier primitive society lived a democratic life before the arrival of the colonizers in Africa. And they used to have democratic methods and means of resolving their problems, with their traditional leader being there permanently. So now we got some exposure of a practice that was imposed on us, and we said, no, anything that is not Western, anything that is not American is not democracy. It is a Chinese democracy, it is a democracy. You may want to go into policies on human rights and things like that. There are certain things that, as you role model your state around Chinese practices or Cuban way of doing things, there are certain things that you may, as a country, say, well, they may be working for China, but we don't think they will work for us here. We can't be a socialist state that only takes up 5 years as a term and only 2 terms. You can be a socialist state. There's nothing in socialism that says you are excluded from limiting your term of office.